What was that?
You got it under control, right, today?
Do I call it into order?
No.
Okay, think we're good.
Let's call the Board of Public Works and Capital Assets meeting of June 11th to order. Roll call.
Gail's here.
Guzikowski.
Seifert here.
Alrighty. And approval of minutes for 5/14 of 24.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of May 14th, 2024.
As long as you're okay, Guz, you weren't here last time, so if you're okay to vote on that, we can.
I am.
Gail second.
Roll call.
Aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
I was wondering how that was going to work. Glad I could vote on it.
Max! Hey, good to see you, man.
Alrighty, number 4, informational review of common council actions related to public works and capital assets.
No report today.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Alrighty, thank you, Francesca. And 5, consider a motion to approve the purchase of a TrueNarc device with a 5-year warranty and 2 TrueNarc solution kits. This Chief?
Good morning, Chief Stecker, Oak Creek Police Department. What I'm bringing forward is for us to purchase the TrueNarc handheld narcotics analyzer. So anytime that we come across suspected narcotics on the road, we have to use presumptive tests is what they're called, and they're little ampules and little packages, and we have to use individual ones. So if we believe something is a drug, we have to go, I think that might be marijuana, or I think it might be this, and then test it. If it's something that's multiple things, we would have to try to get a sample and test it across all different types of tests. And unfortunately, what we're seeing more and more now is multiple items being laced with things. So there's a mixture of items in there, and we just may not know what it is. More commonly that we've seen is fentanyl. So very dangerous, and also something that can be as small as a micron and be involved in what's going on. So what we're looking to do is we actually put in for a grant through Wisconsin DOJ, and we were awarded $26,000 and change towards this NARC analyzer.
Nice.
The entire item that we're asking for is about, where do I have it? It's $41,766. That is for the device, a 5-year warranty, and if we actually sign it by the end of this month, they're including an additional year for 6 years warranty and maintenance, and also 2 packages of the testing items. The other thing that this can do is it can test a single item. Over 500 different drug types are able to get analyzed in an instant, and it'll tell us everything that's in there in one instant. So it's definitely a more effective and efficient unit. It is not cheap by any means. This is a pretty intense, high technology item that we're looking to get. It will be housed at the police department in our property room, just like we have our NARC tests, unless we have a big item that we're going on, like a search warrant, and we want to be able to search those and test those items immediately on scene, which we'd be able to do also in case it were a large fentanyl thing, that we can make sure that we have the proper equipment on. So with the partial grant, the other part of this that I'm looking to fund this with would be with asset forfeiture funds. And if you're not aware, asset forfeiture funds are funds that we get from the federal government when we have seizures of money or equipment, and we get a portion of those proceeds that come out of it. The ability to use asset forfeiture funds are very slim and very specific. Because of this being a narcotic testing thing, this does fit right into what we need to do. So in the end, there would be a 0 cost to the city going forward with this, as 3/4 of it or 2/3 of it's being actually funded with the grant money. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have on why we're looking to get this or about the machine as well.
This thing, court tested, is it proven, is it just for evidence, is it just for like on-site safety, or is it for evidence?
So everything, it's both. So no matter what, we have to get an idea of what we're searching. For a municipal case, this is all that we need. If it's a state case, the DA will always make that decision to go and have something tested. But knowing beforehand what it might be or probably is going to help with everything as to what charges we're actually going to bring down. Instead of it maybe just being possession of marijuana charges, it could be cocaine and opium and fentanyl and everything else. They'll get that verified with the state testing in a further date, but
This thing has been tested through municipal court systems.
correct.
Question? I don't have
Does
it.
any other municipality have this type of service?
So they do, but to say that any of our neighbors have it, I'm not aware that they do.
We're the only one.
We're kind of going to be on the leading edge of this as well, yes.
Good. Well, that's good.
How mobile is this thing?
It's probably about the size of a cell phone, but twice the thickness.
Oh,
So
okay.
very
It's
mobile.
One unit is starting point.
Yeah, I don't know that we'll get to the two unit thing in the future, but depending on how it actually works, I mean, we'd really have to look at that for the cost offset.
Seems like it'd be useful to have it in the field.
I would agree. My only worry is having a $40,000 machine out in the field and having something happen to it.
Yeah.
You drive around in $60,000.
I agree. A little different, a little less easy to drop.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
good.
Good. Okay, then we need a motion.
You'll move to approve the purchase of a TrueNarc device with a 5-year warranty and 2 TrueNarc solution kits.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
KLI.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Ready. Number 6, consider a motion to award South Clement Avenue Force Main Relay Project construction contract to the lowest responsible bidder, Advanced Construction, based on alternative bid amount of $241,785. Yes.
Yes, this was budgeted for 500,000, so it came in well under budget. 6-inch force main was installed in 1983, and it has 50% blockage from our camera crew. Going with the alternate bid of the HDPE pipe instead of PVC, which saves us a little more money, 241.
Straightforward stuff, huh?
Yeah, it's not my department, but I'll try to answer any questions you have. Obviously, a cleaner pipe's gonna be more efficient on our pumping and, better for our customers.
I don't see any problems. It looks good.
Yep. Alrighty, then a motion.
You'll move to award the South Clement Avenue Force Main Relay Project construction contract to the lowest responsible bidder, Advanced Construction, based on an alternative bid amount of $241,785.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
KLI.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Seven, consider a motion to award the East Garden Place Force Main Relay Project construction contract to the lowest responsible bidder, Advanced Construction, based on the alternate bid of $118,024.50.
Similar to the last one, but a 4-inch force main pipe installed in 1984. Again, came in under the $225,000 budget. Going with the alternate bid of the HDPE pipe instead of PVC. That lowers the cost even more to $118,024.
Problems with that? Nope.
Motion.
Seifert moves to award the East Garden Place Force Main Relay Project construction contract to the lowest response bidder, Advanced Construction, for the amount of $118,024.50.
Gale, second.
Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Alrighty. Thank you. Number 8, consider a motion to approve the initial payment for the lab renovation and upgrade project for lab furniture and fume hoods in the amount of $47,533.
We've been going through a project of renovating our lab with new cabinets, sinks, fume hood, storage facility. Final delivery of materials actually happened yesterday, so we want to pay the first partial payment of $47,533, withholding $10,000 to final installation. It's been a little bit of a process, but all the stuff is on site, and they're actually there today working on the final installation.
So it's partially installed?
I would say it's about 90%
Oh, okay.
installed. They have some shelving to put in and 2 wall cabinets.
You guys have accepted and approved whatever's put in already?
Yep, yes, we have.
Either. Gail will move to approve the initial payment for the lab renovation upgrade project, the lab furniture and fume hoods in the amount of $47,533.
Seifert seconds.
Alrighty, roll call.
Gail, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Alrighty. Consider a motion to approve the utility vouchers in the amount of $332,967.55.
Looks good.
Yep, I got nothing there either.
Nothing?
Gail will move to approve the utility vouchers in the amount of $332,967.55.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
Gail, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Alrighty. Number 10, informational, administrative and operations reports.
I'm unfamiliar with the process. Do you guys want to ask some questions?
Yeah,
or
we
wanna
just
highlight some things
ask
for you?
questions if we have any
Yeah.
concerns. Or you want to point out some highlights, Mike, that's up to you.
Let's go ahead
Otherwise,
and-
we don't do line by line.
Yeah, okay. If you guys had any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, I guess, on these reports. One thing on the engineering report that I'd like to point out, though, is Shepherd Avenue water relay. There was one bid that was received, was over budget. Budget was $650,000, and the only bid that we received was $843,000. So they'll be going to the council to recommend the rejected bid. The project will need to be rebid out next year to accommodate with the school's construction.
Do you recall, that's not your, I know that's not your line of work. Do you remember what piece of pipe that was? That's near Edgewood School?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
That is one thing I wanted to point out, and the water valve rehab project was also bid out. We received 2 bids. It will go to the council with the recommendation to reject the bids based on the budget being $350,000 and the bid came in at $866,000. 150% increase, so they're gonna recommend a reject
I got nothing else.
Number 11, consider a motion to award the City Hall roof maintenance project lump sum bid. And alternative number 1 to lowest responsible bidder, Langer Roofing and Sheet Metal Incorp. for $44,500.
Alderman Guzekowski, I'll take that item.
Alrighty.
Matt Sullivan,
Thank you, Matt.
Assistant City Administrator and City Engineer. Before you is that motion to award that roof project. So City Hall or Civic Center was built in 2015. Probably in the last few years, we're starting to see an increase in some water penetration and leakage on the roof system. So then we went out and had a company come in called Garland and kind of look over and do an inspection on our entire Civic Center roof to try to identify some areas where, there was some workmanship or other errors within our system there that needed to be repaired. They identified several, which were put together in a bid package along with ice kind of prevention up on the clock tower. So you can be well aware as ice slides off sheet metal roofing and it comes down, 50 feet onto a roof, there is a high percentage of damaging that kind of rubber roof system that we have. Even though it does have some rock or bolster over it, it does have the chance of penetrating that roof and creating more leaks. So this is nothing more than a maintenance item that we're going to have to start preparing for in long term. This is kind of the initial one to get most of those repairs. That Kolka had helped review those projects and plans, bid those out. And what you see before us is kind of what we had. Our budget was $40,000. We do have residual funds from a project for our variable frequency drives that we approved about a month ago or 2 months ago. About $60,000 in that fund, and we're just requesting that residual fund, about $5,000, be transferred over to cover that cost, so we can do our maintenance on our system here. Happy to answer any questions.
How old is the roof that we have on this facility?
Slightly 9 years. So it's not really material, it's more workmanship in areas that we're being able to identify.
Can we work on a clock tower just recently?
We replaced the peeling paint, so they replaced the system. There was never ice, kind of the ice blocks on those.
Okay,
So that was identified by our inspector on this one.
thank you.
Good. Ben? Oh, I'm good.
Seifert moves to award the City Hall roof maintenance project for the sum of $44,500 to Langer Roofing and Sheet Metal.
Hill, second.
Roll call.
Hill, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Number 12, consider a motion to recommend that the Common Council adopts ordinance number 3103 and creates section 10.41 sub A sub 18 of the municipal court prohibiting parking on heavy traffic routes.
Thank you, Alderman Guzekowski. I'll be taking that one also. So over the last 5 years, we've probably seen a significant increase in truck traffic, parking within heavy truck routes and other areas throughout the city. This is primarily, from the e-commerce, buying stuff online and transferring that through the system. And we've seen a significant increase in that, partly due to the pandemic. And obviously through that, we found the efficiencies and the easiness for people to be buying, those customers be buying stuff right online and just having it brought to their house. So we've seen an increase throughout areas. You've also seen that through buildings coming up. One of the challenges we've had is being able to effectively and efficiently, put in our ordinances and prohibiting that traffic. Now, we've handled those things primarily on case-by-case scenarios as they've come forward with complaints or requests. This ordinance will actually kind of make this much more efficient for our officers, ourselves to identify where those are at, being only heavy truck routes or traffic areas, primarily industrial parks, is where we're seeing it. So this will effectively give them a better tool to do their job versus that confusion that you have with signs or where can you park, where can't you park. This kind of cleans it up in the long run. So one of the bigger challenges we'll have is being able to get this out to the public, the businesses and truck drivers along that to enforce that properly. We have spoken with Chief Stecker on how we're going to manage that. So we're going to be working together with them on kind of a public outreach to the businesses, primarily through engineering. And there'll be somewhat of a grace period to, identify to these truck drivers that might be independent truck drivers that are parking there or using those areas for overnight parking while they go to their residence, whether it's a apartment or some other location where they can't park their truck. But we're going to try to effectively do this and get it out there so we can start cleaning up some of our streets and we don't have trailers and trucks just parked overnight and throughout the area trying to clean it up.
So Matt, are we going to put up some signs to identify these areas so it's a little easier?
No, we will not. One of the things we're trying to do is aesthetically address a lot of these. So we'll be sending out flyers to all the businesses, identifying the new ordinance. And I think Chief Stecker, as we've talked before, what they're going to do as they see these, we'll come up with some language that will identify to these truck drivers, hey, the new ordinance such and such was adopted. You can no longer park in these areas. They won't ticket them at that point. They'll give them kind of that first couple warnings, I believe. Chief Stecker will probably be able to speak to that a little bit better on their process, but this will kind of give them that little bit of grace period so they understand what the new ordinance is, and try to effectively do that, I guess, to not just put it right out there. But the increase in signs, I don't know if that effectively, that to me will be clutter at one point.
This pertains only to streets designated as heavy truck routes,
That's correct.
which are how many in the city?
I wouldn't be able to tell you lane miles, but we do have approximately, we have a list. It's identified within our ordinance in 1020. I wouldn't be able to tell. Primarily all industrial park areas or anything that's industrial.
Major roads?
Drexel Avenue, stuff like that.
Sure. Chief Stecker, Oak Creek Police Department. Just to kind of bounce off of what Matt talked about. So we don't want to put signs everywhere. We go back to the old sign everywhere, sign, then they don't actually mean anything anymore. Much like the rest of our parking ordinances right now, we don't have each one individually, like don't park in front of a fire hydrant, don't block a driveway, don't, those aren't posted everywhere. Those are just items that are part of what it is, and this will become a part of it as well. So what Matt and I discussed is hopefully we get approval here, our recommendation, and we get an approval through council, and we have to wait the designated time before it becomes an actual ordinance that we can enforce. In that meantime, Matt's office and mine will work together to make sure that the businesses are being made aware of it. And from our side, what we'll do is draft a little, probably half sheet of paper, much like we do at the beginning of or leading up to winter parking, and those that we find in violation, we'll put that on their vehicles so that they're aware of it, letting them know on this date, though, now that grace period and the knowledge portion is done, and we're going to start enforcing those with citations.
I guess to add to that, most of the offenders are consistent. It's not like new ones every day. What we're seeing and what we probably have seen is same vehicles parking in certain areas. We could take Belcourt just south of here as an example. Those are the same vehicles on a daily basis, nightly basis. So I think we'll get those repeat offenders at that point and be able to identify those, give them the knowledge and understanding of what the new ordinance will be and when it will come into effect, and hopefully they follow through on it. If not, they'll be ticketed at one point, and typically a money or something like that does get you to do something.
Side of this, heavy truck parking is already prohibited in residential districts.
That is correct.
That's correct.
So you're obviously got to worry about where displacement
That was gonna be my answer to it. That's not for us to find out where they're supposed to park. They need to do that.
But do we, other than private property, do we allow truck parking anywhere after this?
No.
On-
Oh,
No.
I didn't think so.
I mean, there will be cases where, you know, parking lot's getting redone or something along those lines where they can reach out to us. And there'll be certain cases, obviously, where, you know, we'll give them some temporary, you know, allowance to park. But this will also clean up like 6th Street up by UPS after they get done doing their parking lot. They're going through a very large project to increase their parking, stormwater and everything else to get those trailers off of 6th. So we're kind of working with some of those companies already and businesses. I think this is just to start cleaning up those areas where you have your independent drivers that are not associated with a business that just park overnight because their apartment's down the road or something along those lines. They're going to have to find that other place to park. I believe there are other places to park. We're starting to see those other ones pop up where they allow, you know, you might have to pay a small fee, but once again, that's part of business, I guess.
We have the only 2 truck stops in the whole county in Oak Creek. You know, so for an Oak Creek resident to be able to park there and then park back, and to a degree, I believe they're Oak Creek residents, we'll start cleaning those up. But like Matt said, that's your Bell Court, your 6th Street, right out here on Forest Hill. You guys will see that most of the time. And what they're doing is parking their vehicle there, and then they'll pick up their semi, and they just keep trading off back and forth. And that's not what the streets of Oak Creek are meant to be for, is the parking lot for people that just choose to park their vehicles there.
I agree.
Just have a question about, I notice once in a while trucks pull in our, what is it, a parking area that we have off-ramp parking?
The park and ride?
Parking right, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of it for a second.
That's okay.
But I've noticed a few trucks once in a while pull off there. I don't know if they stay there or not, but
So we commonly, just as we do everywhere else, monitor the park and ride. So just for everyone's edification, the 2 College Road park and rides are not in Oak Creek. Those are both Milwaukee. The only park and ride that we have in our jurisdiction is Ryan Road. So we do commonly watch that, make sure that people aren't overnight camping and everything else that we've seen at some of the other lots as well.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Works for me.
Absolutely. I noticed Bell Court every weekend when I come to City Hall and get my mail. I drive from 13th and Butte, so it's amazing how many cars, how many trucks are parked up there. So it's glad we're gonna do something about this. Motion.
Seifert moves to recommend to the Common Council adopts ordinance number 3103 that creates section 10.41 (a) 17 of the municipal code prohibiting parking on heavy traffic routes.
Hill second.
Roll call.
Aye. Gale, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Awesome. Alrighty, adjournment.
Hill moves to adjourn. Brad, you got a second on that, or you want to stay here for a while?
I thought maybe we'd stick around for another hour. No, Seifert seconds, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Roll call.
Gale, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
There we go.
Plank
Oh, there you go. That's what I stayed off.